Right, we're rolling.
The default assets are so shit. The default assets, they're really, really shit. The graphical interface is kind of lacking, to be honest. It's not very self-explanatory. Maybe I am a scrub, but like, hear me out. Some people sell games using the default assets and the default battle system with no custom scripting of their own. They release it for money on Steam. Vultures. Vultures. I implemented a summoner class yesterday. Originally, I was going to have the summoner replace herself with a summon character, which I would make in the character creation. But then I found I couldn't really do that, so instead what I did was I made the summon a status effect, right? Which would give her access to a new series of spells. Okay? So she summons a fairy, she gets the fairy status effect, and she can then use fairy spells as though she's, you know, so she's got a fairy, but she also gets her stats boosted. In the case of the fairy, she gets a bonus to agility and luck, I believe. The second one I'll do will be a titan. And that'll give us strength or defense or something. You know, basic shit really. It's going to be pretty generic if I'm honest, but it is fun working this stuff out. But the moral of my story, what I'm really saying is I would never release that for money, because I'm just using the default assets, and that would just be... Who releases that shit? Like, who uses the default assets, right, and then charges money? That's so amateurish. Oh, very, very unprofessional, to be honest. And that's coming from a guy who doesn't really know what he's doing with the software stuff, so. Okay. The next theme is learning to use the Blender software after being used to Maya for so long. Okay. Why does every tutorial on YouTube say right click to select things, when on my version of Blender I press the left click and that selects things instead? Why is that? Is my version broken? What's going on? And to be honest, I really, really do not like the location point system they have, where everything's tied into this location point and you have to move around manually. Anything you do, if it's like join two edges, for example, the options are constrained to the center or constrained to the center point. And the center point, I'm never going to use that. To be honest, it's this thing. You right click, you can set where the center point is, and it's just okay. Look, honestly, it's just shit. Maybe I'm spoiled by Maya, because they do say Maya is the superior software. It's, you know, industry standard. It's really what you want to be using, if not maybe 3ds Max. Blender is a free software after all, but I mean, even so, people do some very good stuff in Blender. I just wish the interface was more manageable. That's all I wish. That's my one gripe. The way it handles textures, that seems... I can get behind that. It seems a lot more intuitive than the way Maya handles textures, because, I mean, the way Maya was alright, but Blender has a very good self-contained sort of layering system. It's quite good. I quite like that. It's got some very, I mean, if you want to access different ways to render things, it's just in the top menu. You just, you know, drop down. You have options for Maya, Blender rendering. You've got, and then you got, you know, the more advanced stuff when you actually make it look and stuff really good. It's just not as user friendly.
Not as user friendly.
And I wish it was.
And he wishes it was.
Another thing, I had two vertices. I had a low poly head that I split in half, but then I didn't move it. It was just split in half, two pieces. And the vertices were, of course, in pretty much the same, you know, exactly the same place. So basically, I couldn't, you know, to reattach the vertices, I couldn't actually click both of them. It would only let me click one because they're in the same place. Mine would have let me done that. So I couldn't. So basically, to rejoin it, I had to move the head apart of it. And now it's off the centre point. I don't know how to get it back onto the centre point. And it's a little bit wider than I wanted it to be. I mean, I've obviously changed it, but you know, it was. My point is, it was different, and I shouldn't have to. You know, it seems like a very simple thing that. I mean, it probably is simple, to be honest. I mean, if anyone actually knows how to use Blender and is watching this, then they're probably thinking you're an idiot, to be fair, because I've literally just started using it. But that's just my 2 cents.
That was interesting.
Thanks, man.
Damn, son.
How long was it?
6 minutes 52.
Yeah.